In this video, I want to discuss what moral objectivity means. Hi, Dr. Lee here, back with another video on philosophy. So, moral objectivity argues that there are some objectively true and correct moral standards, and these moral standards apply to everyone regardless of the circumstance, regardless of whether one believes them to be true or not. They apply to everyone regardless of whether people are aware that they do or not. These moral standards are objectively true and universal, hence they apply to everyone. It's like the idea that 2 plus 2 equals 4. And that's true for everyone, regardless of circumstance, regardless if someone believes this to be true or not. So I might have $2 in my pocket and $2 in my wallet, but I really need $5. But again, regardless of the circumstance, 2 plus 2 will always equal 4 because it's objectively true. Way back in grade school on my math test, I might have put 2 plus 2 equals 5, and I truly believed that 2 plus 2 equals 5. But nonetheless, it doesn't change the objective truth that 2 plus 2 equals 4. The law of gravity is another example of objective truth. I might jump out of a building trying to defy the law of gravity or trying to disprove it, but nonetheless, with disaster results, the law of gravity holds true because it is objectively true. But you might be saying, all right, I understand there are mathematical and scientifically objective truth statements, but that's not how morality works. Moral standards aren't verified like science or math. So let me explain it this way. Think about a red light and take out fire trucks and ambulances. The meaning of a red light is universally true for everyone, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whether you're late to work or not. The meaning doesn't change. But here's the thing. You can break the law of a red light. You could run right through it because you're late to work, and you might get in an accident. Nothing might happen. Something good might happen, like showing up to work on time. Nonetheless, the consequences of breaking the red light does not change the meaning of what a red light means. You might be a first-time driver and not aware of what a red light actually means, but that again doesn't change the meaning of the red light, because a red light, the meaning of it is objectively true for all. Same thing applies to morality. An objectivist will say that this moral standard applies to everyone, regardless of whether you obey it or not. You could disregard this moral standard and there might be some negative consequences. You could disregard this moral standard and something good might actually happen. Or nothing happens at all, or you might not even be aware of it because you were never aware of the moral standard to begin with. Nonetheless, the objective truth of the moral standard does not change because it is universally true and applied to all. So what's an example of such a moral standard? So Louis Poimon, he proposes that it is morally wrong to torture someone for the fun of it. This, according to Poimon, is a universal, objective moral statement that applies to everyone, regardless of whether you might enjoy torturing or you might not even be aware that this is immoral. Regardless of anything, of any circumstances, it is universally and objectively wrong to torture someone for the fun of it. But you might respond by saying, well, morality is determined by cultures and society, and no culture or society, we just don't agree with each other. Cultures and societies don't agree on one moral standard. And because of this disagreement, and because of this wide variety of views about morality, this proves that morality is not morally objective. So, another example from grade school. You might have had that teacher who filled a jar with jelly beans and had everyone write down how many jelly beans are in this jar, and whoever got closest got to keep the jelly beans in the jar, etc. And most likely, everyone guessed differently. No one guessed the same number. And most likely, no one actually guessed the correct number. But regardless of the diverse opinions, regardless of the conflicting opinions, and regardless of probably no one actually guessed the correct number, it doesn't necessitate that there is no single answer to the question of how many jelly beans are in this jar. Same thing applies to morality. Morality is a much more complex issue than the question of how many jelly beans are in this jar. So of course we are going to expect a wide variety and even conflicting views about what is morally right and morally wrong. But just because there's a diversity and just because people disagree on what is morally right and morally wrong, that does not necessarily disprove moral objectivity. Diversity of opinion does not prove that moral objectivity does not exist. Because again, moral objectivity is not contingent on confirming whether something exists or not, but it applies to everyone. So, last note, moral objectivity does not force someone to believe another person's view. Moral objectivity merely states that the moral views that I hold apply to everyone. So, of course, all of us as moral agents are responsible for our own moral actions. We all hold our own moral views. And an objectivist will merely say that the moral standards that one holds are universally true for everyone. So moral objectivity is not about forcing you to believe something. It is merely saying that whatever is morally right and morally wrong, it applies to all of us because they are universally true regardless of whether you believe them or not. So I hope this helps. Leave a comment below and come back for a future video.